ministerial class. So lucky to be in the room with one of our amazing practitioners, Miss Ellen Contente. Please welcome Ellen.
Thank you, Karen.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So, how many of you give yourselves permission to be fearless every day? Show of hands. Some of you, yes. So here's the question. Why don't we give ourselves permission to be fearless every day? You know why? Because we live in a fear-based society, right? Listen to the news every day. That's all they talk about is things to be afraid of, right? Or if you've turned off the news like a lot of us have already, maybe we were brought up in a fear-based upbringing, right? I grew up in a fear-based upbringing. How many of you did? Okay, a lot of hands went up for that one too. Right? It starts off when we're little, right? Don't run, you're gonna fall, you're gonna hurt yourself, right? Don't climb on that, you might fall and hurt yourselves. My mother would always say when I walked out the door, and this is God's honest truth, be careful out there, there are crazies. Little did she know that I was the crazy one. No. But how can we have the courage to be fearless when we're completely and utterly surrounded by fear? I spent my entire life up till now, actually up till probably a good 5 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago when I stepped into the spiritual center, living a fear-based life. I was living a life based on fear as what might happen, what might not happen. Right? And if you think about how you live your life today to a certain extent, so much of what we do is fear-based. Right? We have insurance. How many of you have insurance? Right? Is that not sold to us based on fear? If we don't have car insurance, what's going to happen to us if we're in an accident? If we don't have life insurance, what's going to happen to our families? Right? If we don't have, think about it, if we don't have certain things, terrible things might happen to us. So I've spent a lot of my life doing things out of fear of what might happen or what might not happen, right? I exercise because what if I don't? I'm going to get out of shape and I won't be able to do things. I eat better, right? I'd like to think I do it because it's good for me, but it's, if you really are truthful about it, it's out of fear, right? If I don't eat well, then I'm fear of getting sick. So there's so much fear that's imposed upon us that it's no wonder that so many of us don't give ourselves permission to live a fearless life. So what does it mean to be fearless? What does it mean to be fearless? We're also taught that to be fearless means to be courageous, to do it in spite of fear, right? Even though we have fear, do it anyway. Well, I just recently listened to a CD series that's actually called Fearless, and it's from the Options Institute, which I visited last month when I was up in Massachusetts, and I was actually traveling around for a whole month. And he talks about fearless as literally living completely and utterly without fear, which is completely different than being courageous. So how do we live without fear? Right up there. It's remembering who we are. To live fearlessly means to literally remember that we are God. There's no fear in God. There's no fear in living the truth of who we are, which is to love only. And when we can wake up every day and say, oh my God, that is who I am. What is there to fear? And so it's to step into the truth every day of who we are. And so how do I do that? To make this a little more personally? Well, I recognize that when I have those feelings, because fear is a feeling, it's just in response to my beliefs about something that's going on out there. So if I recognize that feeling is just a fear of maybe judgment, like how is somebody going to think of me, what might happen, what might not happen, and just recognize that in truth, my life is unfolding perfectly. So no matter what happens, it is for my highest good. It is for my growth. And so I've decided to say yes to all new experiences, and I've also decided to say no to things that don't serve me anymore. And so every day I make a decision when I wake up, how do I want to be today? Do I want to live in fear and do things out of that feeling? Or do I want to live in truth and know that no matter what happens, it's perfect? And my life is unfolding perfectly. And so I will charge each and every one of you to look at your fear when it comes up and recognize it for what it is. Because if there's fear, you've moved out of faith. And so just know that to be fearless and to have the courage and the permission to live that way is to love only, forgive everything, and remember who you are. And what? Do it now. Namaste.